what I'm going to do is I am going to hand it over to Nicole now, who is going to tell us what it is like to have been an international student who has managed to successfully convert her visa and live and work in Australia for Microsoft. So take it away, Nicole.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Michelle. So, hello everyone. It's an absolute pleasure to be part of this year's Microsoft Student Accelerator kickoff session. I'm your presenter for today's session, and just like some of you, I too am an international student who have experienced the exciting journey of navigating the education system to building a successful career here in Australia. So, in today's presentation, we'll take a trip down memory lane and relive the highlights and hurdles of the academic and career journey from adjusting to a new culture to landing that dream job. So, I'm eager to share my experiences and insights as an international student and hope to hear more about your own personal journeys as well. So, ladies and gents, buckle up because we're about to embark on a journey filled with adventure, learning, and of course, a pinch of humor. So, if you haven't had any breakfast yet, grab a Vegemite sandwich and join me on this wild ride. So, by way of introduction, my name is Nicole Nathalie Tan, but you can call me Nic-Nat for short. I am 24 years old and a proud Filipino. I have black and blonde hair, black eyes, lightly tanned skin, and I wear a thin black frame glasses and wearing a black long sleeves. I studied a Bachelor of Science in Civil Engineering in the Philippines and decided to migrate to Australia mid-year of 2017 to pursue a Bachelor of Engineering honors degree at Macquarie University for Mechatronics Engineering. You see, I am one of the lucky ducks in my family who was given the chance of a lifetime to study abroad, all thanks to my aunt who believed in me and made it possible for me to come to Australia. So, fast forward a few years later, and here I am today, working as a digital and application innovation specialist at Microsoft, helping shape the future of education. Now, you might be wondering, why education? Growing up, I was always a curious little critter, always hungry for knowledge. My grandmother used to tell me that knowledge is power and it's a treasure that can never be taken away from you.
Family.
So every time I learned something new, I felt like I was getting a little bit stronger, a little bit smarter. And my burning passion for knowledge has been my shining beacon of hope during the stormiest of days. It always kept me going and made me feel empowered. And I've always believed that knowledge is a superpower, which is why every time I acquire a new skill or piece of information, I feel as though I've added a new superhero ability to my arsenal. And now I get to use these powers to make a difference in the world. How cool is that? And so when the opportunity presented, I volunteered to my manager to focus on the sector that creates the next generation. And you guessed it right. That's education. So I'm really passionate about helping students just like you achieve your full potential. Now, to kick off our discussion, I wanted to shift your attention to this diagram taken from Dora, or DevOps Research and Assessment Report. Now, the J-curve theory that you're seeing on the screen is from the Accelerate State of DevOps 2018 report, which refers to the relationship between IT performance and organizational performance. The theory states that organizations that adopt DevOps practices and culture initially see a dip in performance represented by the downward slope of the J curve. However, as DevOps practices become established and refined, performance improves and surpasses that of organizations that have not adopted DevOps, which is represented by the upward slope of the J shape. Oops, sorry. In other words, the J curve theory suggests that organizations that invest in DevOps will eventually see better results than those that do not, but that this improvement takes time and effort to achieve. The report also argues that DevOps practices and culture can help organizations to achieve better outcomes in areas such as lead time, mean time to recover, and change success rate, among others. All right. I know what you're thinking. You might be sitting there with your hand on your chin, trying to figure out why in the world are we discussing the J curve theory? But don't worry, we're about to connect the dots and show you how this theory is relevant to our lives as international students. Now, the relevance of the J curve theory to international students' life can be seen in the analogy to the student's academic and career journey. Just as organizations that adopt DevOps practices may initially see a dip in performance before eventually seeing improvement, international students may also face challenges and obstacles in their journey. As as international students may struggle with things like language barriers or maybe a lack of confidence in our academic abilities, causing for us to perform at a lower level initially. However, by utilizing resources and tools that are available, such as language classes, tutoring services, or online resources, we can start to make progress and improve our performance. This initial progress then spurs us to experiment with new resources and tools to enhance our performance even more. Picture this. In DevOps, we have lead time, mean time to recover, and change success rate, all measurements that totally align with the journey of international students. So let's connect the dots, shall we? The amount of time it takes for a student to adjust to a new environment and culture and to start feeling comfortable and confident in our academic and personal life can be considered as the lead time. Just like in DevOps, where lead time refers to the time it takes to move from code commit to code deploy, the lead time for an international student is the time it takes to adjust to a new way of life. Now, the time it takes for an international student to overcome any setbacks or challenges in the academic or personal life can be considered as our mean time to recover. Similarly, in DevOps, the mean time to recover refers to the time it takes to recover from an incident or an outage. And lastly, the ability of an international student to adapt and succeed in a new environment and culture can be considered as the change success rate. In DevOps, change success rate refers to the percentage of changes that are successful. The change success rate for an international student is our ability to succeed in the new environment. Now, in both cases, the key to success is to be proactive, persistent, and flexible in the face of change. Now, I dove into the J curve theory to give you a vivid visual of development progress before diving into my personal journey with you, like a prelude to a symphony of my growth story. So, if we take a look at my academic experience, I could probably share with you the amount of reflection I've had in terms of looking at the differences and similarities of the educational systems in both countries. Now, I studied in a 400-year-old university in the Philippines called University of Santo Tomas. And when I moved to Australia, I then pursued my further studies in Macquarie University. What I've noticed is that the quality of education in general in Australia is more known for its high quality and cutting edge research facilities. Meanwhile, in the Philippines, there is a large education system, but its quality still varies greatly across institutions. Looking at the class sizes, we are often have more smaller and more personalized classes in Australia, whereas in the Philippines, it can be large and lecture based. The teaching style in Australia focuses more of a student-centered learning and hands-on experiences, whereas in the Philippines, the focus is more on lectures and rote learning. Now, don't get me started with assessments. But assessments in Australia can be more diverse and challenging. It incorporates practical work, essays, exams, whereas in the Philippines, exams and assessments tend to be more straightforward and focus on rote learning as well. Sometimes I even get professors in the Philippines to provide us hints or clues on the actual exams that we'll be having. Now, one of the most trivial thing I would probably mention is the cost of education. So, cost of education in Australia is often more expensive than in the Philippines, especially for international students. Now, looking at its similarities, Both countries have a strong tradition of academic rigor and place a high value on education. They're also both dedicated to preparing students for the workforce and encouraging lifelong learning. But what I found really important when I chose to migrate to Australia is its cultural diversity. Both countries have a mix of cultures and backgrounds, which creates a very vibrant and inclusive environment for the students. Now, looking at my career journey, while I was studying full time in Australia, I noticed that it can get quite pricey, not just on the expenses for studying, but also for the living. So I had to get creative and find ways to balance the books and my passion for learning. So I've been juggling a part time job and a full time course load, but in the end, I felt as though it was all worth it. So, did you know I've been on a wild ride of switching things up in the last few years? I've made a whooping 5 career transitions, and it has been such a crazy roller coaster ride. When I landed in Australia, I hit the ground running with my job search. I may have taken a more traditional approach at first by handing out physical resumes. But let me tell you, it was quite challenging because I went from Westfield to Westfield to hand out those physical resumes. So, as an international student, I faced some tough times with some of my employers who took advantage by either not paying me or canceling my shifts last minute. However, I persevered and finally landed a sweet gig as a store person at Gelatissimo. Now, working at a Gelatissimo, I found it to be quite labor extensive, knowing that I had to balance it with a full time course load. So I took a step back and searched for a gig that would give me a better work life balance as a full time student. After all, who wouldn't want to have a little more chill in their life, right? So with that, I was able to land a role within Samsung as a brand ambassador and eventually as an experienced consultant, focusing on selling and troubleshooting Samsung hardware products. Now, with graduation looming, I had to put my game face on and score an internship. Now, what helped me is the meaningful university connections and network that I've had with my peers and colleagues. So, one of my colleagues actually put forward my resume that helped me land a job in a small organization called Master Instruments. So, within Master Instruments, I was working as a CAD technician with a cutting edge battery engineering products. This particular experience was a game changer for me, as I've got to try on different career hats and figure out what I was really passionate about. It was also the moment when I started to think about where I wanted to be 5 years down the road. So I started to map out what that would look like for me. So I took a step back once more and researched on the companies that aligns with my values and goals. Although I had to come back in the retail setting, I thought it was worth the shot to build a better future for myself, and so I applied for a product advisor role in the Microsoft retail store, which now has been rebranded as the Microsoft Experience Store. From the start of my career at Microsoft, I encountered so many unexpected events that tested my strength and resilience. Picture this: I caught the chicken pox within my first 2 weeks on the job. Then, as if that wasn't enough, the COVID-19 pandemic hit during my first month, causing my role to be declared redundant and even postponing my graduation. Talk about a roller coaster ride, right? So, one of the ways that I've approached this challenge was by viewing them as opportunities for growth and development. Since jumped on roles after roles after roles, it helped me to take a step back once more. It helped me realign my perspective to stay motivated and find creative solutions on these difficulties that I was facing. So, riding the waves of change, I saw the opportunity to switch gears and take a fresh look at my career path. I was able to rest and recharge, reconnect with family, rethink about my career path, and reflect and realign my goals. And so, although redundancy was such a challenging experience, I thought to myself that that was the push I needed to reassess my goals and find new ways to reach them. And so, the message I wanted to leave behind this experience is that every time you encounter challenges in your life, try to see it in the perspective that it is a new opportunity for you to grow and learn. So, one thing I'd like to highlight from that journey was that out of all the five career transitions I've made, the one that made the biggest impact wasn't even my choice. It was forced upon me by the pandemic of 2020. But boy, did it pay off. I took a leap of faith from being a product advisor to becoming a customer success trainer. So, as a customer success trainer, I was focused on delivering product content for Microsoft 365, Teams, and the Power Platform. And at the time, I was fairly new to the concept of cloud services, particularly Teams, which we are now all using in our day to day work and study. So I had to step out of my comfort zone and face virtual attendees from those far off land within the Asia Pacific region. Now, relating this back to the J curve we talked about, this transition had set me back to the start of the curve, which is the beginning of my transformation. So as I started onto my new role, I realized that the biggest challenge was yet to come. I wasn't a natural at impromptu English speaking. I started out with a serious case of stage fright, struggling to string two English sentences together without even stumbling over my words. So, what did I do? Hmm. I was hired as a part time employee, but since I graduated, what is the better way for me to leverage the remaining time that I had of the week? So, what I did is I was working as a part time employee, but I worked as if I was full time. I spent the days that I'm off to hit the books, devour the documentations, watch training videos like it was my day job, and got hands on with self learning. All this just so I could create scripts for training content like a purr. And with the help of my peers who did dry runs with me, I was able to find my voice. So no more apologies for any forgotten lines or mangled grammar. I was able to conquer the virtual stage fright that I initially had. Now, I am an avid believer of everything happens for a reason. And with that, every uh challenges and obstacles presents an opportunity for us. So I made sure to swing the door wide open and make the most out of the available resources in front of me. Like, for example, diving into Microsoft certifications. At the time that we have rebranded the store to a Microsoft Experience Center, certifications wasn't a requirement in our roles. Though my area of work is within M365, Teams, and Power Platform, I took the opportunity to learn and get certified for Azure. Little did I know that this venture would pay off big time when the Microsoft graduate program called Aspire opened its door. Now, the certification I earned with Azure Fundamentals helped help set me apart from the rest of the other applicants at that time. So thankfully, as we get older, we get wiser, we learn and grow from our experiences. And I wanted to take this opportunity to share my top personal lessons learned. And I wish I had this information with me under my belt sooner than later. So, as an international student, it's important to understand and embrace our learning style and communication style, as well as build our confidence in our skills and abilities. Understanding your learning style and communication style is important to improve your study habits, enhancement of your communication, boost of your confidence, and of course, your career advancement. But what I found incredibly helpful is to build out a routine. Routine is important because it provides structure and stability in our lives. It helps us prioritize tasks, manage our time efficiently, and maintain a work life balance, which is super duper important. A consistent routine can also improve our mental health and physical health by reducing stress and increasing the self discipline that we have. Additionally, routine can create a sense of accomplishment and increase productivity by making it easier to focus on goals and making steady progress towards them. So, in essence, establishing and sticking to a routine can help achieve our personal and professional goals more efficiently. Now, looking at the career aspect, there were three key things that I never knew was important to grow both professionally and personally. And that is understanding and navigating our imposter syndrome, emotional intelligence, and having that high impact mindset. So, imposter syndrome is a common experience among all of us where we feel like we don't belong or we're not capable enough to succeed in our studies or career. However, it's important for us to understand and overcome imposter syndrome in order to build confidence and achieve our goals. And there are a few key takeaways that I want you to try at home in order to overcome imposter syndrome. First is acknowledging your feelings. Recognize that imposter syndrome is a common experience and that you are not alone in this experience. Second is reframing your negative thoughts. Challenge that negative self talk and replace it with positive affirmations and self encouragement. Now, the best way to achieve this is by celebrating your achievements, no matter how small or big those are. Take the time to acknowledge your accomplishments and remind yourself of the skills and qualities that you got where you are today. Now, if those three things don't work, the next step is to seek support. Surround yourself with supportive people, such as peers, mentors, and coaches, who can help you through your challenges and boost your confidence. Focus on your strengths and identify what are those strengths that could enable you in achieving your goals. And lastly, learn and embrace failure and practice self care. Now, when we look at emotional intelligence, this is something that I learned the hard way. Um, as I've navigated my career at Microsoft, I realized the importance of recognizing and managing our own emotions, as well as the emotions of others, in order to build that strong relationships and navigating any challenges or setbacks that you may encounter. Now, there are a lot of benefits in understanding your emotional intelligence and recognizing this. One is it helps you build better relationships with your colleagues, your clients, or your customers by being able to understand, respond, and empathize with their emotions. Second is handling your workplace stress and conflict. It also helps develop your better self awareness, enhance your leadership skills, and improve your communication skills and decision making abilities. But lastly, one thing that I recently found out in my line of work is having the high impact mindset. Now, a high impact mindset is characterized by qualities such as a strong drive to achieve, a focus on results, a positive and optimistic outlook, resilience, and an ability to effectively manage emotions. Now, there are three ways that you can demonstrate this, whether that may be in your academic or career settings. First is by being proactive. Second is taking initiative. And lastly, solving problems efficiently. By doing so, you're able to pursue challenging and high visibility projects. You can take a proactive approach to problem solving, build and maintain stronger relationships, and stay focused on the bigger picture while maintaining a positive attitude even when facing setbacks, challenges, or criticisms. Now, before I move on to the set of tools, valuable assets that help me improve and develop my personal and career, I wanted to take a pause here and maybe navigate through our audience to see if you have any sort of questions, feedback, or anything that you'd like to share. Okay, so I think a lot of the points were um, already addressed by Michelle in the chat. So I guess I'll move on to the next content. So navigating the J curve that we've shown earlier can be quite challenging and daunting. And I thought I'd share with you the top assets that helped me start off my international student journey. So, developing oneself is not just about academic success or career growth, but also encompasses various aspects of life, such as family, community, mindset, resourcefulness, and your personal mantras. As an international student, balancing these elements can be challenging, but having a disciplined and growth mindset can help. Embracing a resourceful approach and staying true to your personal mantra can also guide you in making informed decisions and navigating through the life's ups and downs. All these elements come together to create a well-rounded, holistic approach to personal development. But what I wanted to shift your attention to is building your personal mantra or your North Star. So, in my experience, my North Star has helped become my set of values or my guiding principle in adopting and navigating challenging situations. So, I use these four values to navigate the decisions and actions that I will take. For me personally, the four C's have helped me out, and the four C's is competence, commitment, compassion, and consistency. One thing that is quite crucial as we navigate career and academic setting is our compassion for others. Showing empathy and understanding towards others and treating them with kindness and respect is really important, especially now that we are navigating unprecedented events, um, from the COVID-19 pandemic to the changes that we are foreseeing with the economic climate. It's important that we are there for each other. Now, if we think of career development activities like scaling up the career mountain, you might want to grab hold of personal branding, creating a game plan with a career development plan, networking like a pro, and seeking wise counsel from your mentors and coaches. While doing so, it's also important to level up with your education and certifications and tackle each day with sharp time management skills, all in the pursuit of reaching new professional heights. So, my call to action to everyone today is start now. Start thinking about your personal branding, start thinking about your career development plan, and finding mentors and coaches who can guide you along the way. When it comes to creating your personal brand, in its core, it's outlining your reputation, your legacy, and what you want people to know and expect out of you. The process of personal branding is very simple. It's finding elements about yourself that you can project and showcase to your desired audience. But it's not necessarily easy to pinpoint and find these particular elements of yourself. It definitely requires you to ask yourself and answer some tricky questions. But the result is that you'll get a competitive advantage by asking yourself these harder questions. And one of the four questions I'd like for you to start thinking about is, what am I passionate about? What am I good at? What gives me credibility? And what are your personal brand goals? When you start thinking about these questions, it will help you understand a little bit more about yourself and hopefully can give you a bit of an idea for your elevator pitch, which will be incredibly helpful for the next step of your journey. Now, there are several ways that you might want to structure your elevator pitch, but here is a basic scaffold. First, you start by introducing yourself. Then, you summarize what you do. Next is you explain what you want. And lastly, you finish with a call to action. So I've put up some examples in here on how you can construct your elevator pitch. Starting by introducing myself. Hi, my name's Nathalie. It's an absolute pleasure to meet you. A very warm greeting to the other person. Next is summarizing what you do. Now, if you are not able to construct yet what it is that you do, it's good to have a mapping of who you are. So on the left hand side, I've provided an example of who I am and the things that I've done. I've graduated civil engineering, I've graduated as a mechatronics engineer, I've done certifications in Cisco and Microsoft. I am working in tech for the last 5 years, and I have experiences in data and AI, application development, and lastly, I am passionate about helping shape the future of education. Once you map out these items, take out what you feel as though isn't necessary for the other person that you are trying to engage with. So in this case, I've removed, my background in civil engineering. I removed the certification I had with Cisco, and I focus on what it is that I'm primarily doing right now. So I mentioned in the summary, I'm currently a digital app innovation specialist for public sector education and have worked as a technology consultant for the last 5 years. Great. Now I have to explain what I want to do or want to achieve. And so, coming back from this example, I mentioned then I have a deep understanding of the unique needs and challenges faced by the education sector and leverage my experience in mechatronics engineering to bring those innovative solutions to address them. Now, what I want to get is an opportunity to put my expertise to work for your specific company. And so, my call to action from this is, would it be possible for us to set up a quick call next week to talk about any upcoming opportunities on the team or any additional work or resources that I could leverage to understand better what your team prioritizes the most? So, a very simple and yet effective structure. Now, another thing I'd like for you to leverage is LinkedIn. Now that we're working in a digital age, personal branding can come quite easier for us with the set of technologies that we have through the mobile devices. So it only takes 7 seconds to form a first impression to others. So make sure that you start building your LinkedIn profile with the main focus on the top box area, which comprises your profile and banner image, your professional headline, and a summary of who you are. It's crucial to get this part right. Otherwise, most people will click off within seconds and the opportunity will be lost. Now, as you grow your personal branding, it's important that you follow people, groups, and organizations of your interests. Grow your presence by engaging with connections, by reacting, sharing, and replying to your post. Another area to grow and to think about is the set of network that you would like to engage with, whether that may be recruiters or hiring managers, mentors, subject matter experts, professionals, and sponsors. By reaching out to these people that you share the same passion with, or people working in the same role or organization that you aspire to be, you're able to understand who might be your potential mentors or sponsors or referrals. So, as a general rule, here are some good people to connect with on LinkedIn. Professionals whose careers, interests, and attitudes make them ideal connections. Recruiters and hiring managers, of course, and mentors. That someone that you think might help you achieve the bigger picture that you want to um, achieve. They push you to shift your business model, to do things differently, to change your whole idea of how you work and what you want to do and what you can do. Also, the subject matter experts in your field and sponsor that is not about who you know, but who knows you. So invite those people, connect with them by following them or maybe sending them a personal message as well. Now, lastly, when you're connecting with people on LinkedIn, it's also important that you provide a bit of an idea of who you are. So here is an example of how you can connect with a recruiter or hiring manager. Hi, name. I hope you're well. By way of introduction, my name is Nicole. I recently discovered that you're currently hiring for this role, and I wanted to connect with you to gain more clarity about it. I'm currently a blank at blank with blank experience, seeking for new opportunity and open to the option of relocation. My diverse practical experience, growth mindset, and strong work ethic are just a few of many strengths. And if given the opportunity, I am happy to provide my resume and share a bit more about my professional and personal assets that I can bring along to the table. I hope to speak to you soon. Thank you very much, and I hope you have a wonderful day. One thing I always tell everyone I meet is that reaching out to people politely and respectfully will not cost you anything. The only thing that you're missing is by not trying. So I hope that after today's session, if there is anything that you fear of doing, just give it a go. Try it out and see what it might potentially land you with. And the reason why I am sharing this with you is because with my experience at Microsoft, connecting with the recruiter and hiring managers has given me an edge. It has helped me land the roles that I have had so far with Microsoft as a technology consultant to a specialist. Usually, I would drop a message on Teams or I would proactively reach out to my network to see if they can connect me with that person. So, if you haven't given this a shot, I encourage you to do so today. Um, there's just a few more slides that I wanted to cover, but knowing that you're already part of the Microsoft Student Accelerator is a great sign that you're proactively working on your career growth and development by pursuing further education and potentially certifications in the field of interest that you have. But I just wanted to share with you some additional resources that you could potentially leverage in your pursuit of education. So we have massive open online courses such as Coursera, edX, Udemy that offers a wide range of courses on various subjects such as business, technology, creative skills for free or at a low cost. But seeing how YouTube and other online platform is growing, you can also access free educational resources through video tutorials and interactive lessons. Now, another area is an open source educational resources. And if you haven't seen MIT Open Courseware, I encourage you to access that website. They have a incredible amount of PowerPoint presentations and other documents that might be relevant to your field of study, such as computer science, engineering, maths, and so on. And lastly, of course, free certification programs that might be available for you as a student, whether that may be from our Microsoft Student Accelerator program and through other nonprofit organizations as well. So, I guess from here, the last thing that really helped me out in my journey is my board of directors that Michelle, who is one of my current mentor, has encouraged me to build. So I am a firm believer that no man is an island. Early in one's career, having a board of directors or mentors and coaches can be the key to unlocking success. These individuals will bring a wealth of knowledge and experience to the table, offering guidance and support at every turn. From navigating complex challenges to celebrating small victories and having a strong support system that can make all the difference. And usually they are a set of strong networks that will help you grow your network as well. For example, with my mentorship with Michelle, I was able to create peer mentors such as Gia and Graham that are now helping me navigate my role as a digital and application innovation specialist. Now, one thing I would like to highlight is when you're creating your board of directors, it doesn't necessarily have to be just aligned to the career or maybe the stream of work that you're doing. For example, in here, I have mentors such as Suraj, who is a project manager, helping me understand businesses a little bit better and how to manage stakeholders. I also have mentors that are architects within the data and AI space, within the application development space. And as you can tell, when you're creating or developing applications, you cannot work with applications without data. So have that at the back of your mind when you're thinking about your mentors and coaches. And so in here, it's just a small example of how you could potentially reach out to other people who you might be thinking of as a prospect for them to be your mentor or coach. Now, I know there's a few more slides, so please bear with me. But one thing I'd like to highlight is as you navigated through the personal branding, the network, and also your mentors, it's important that you create your career development plan. So, a career development plan involves several exercises that help you understand who you are, what you want to achieve, where do you want to land in your career in the next few years, excuse me, and the resources that you can leverage to get there. Now, this career development plan will allow you to monitor and track your progress. And you can think of it as a living document because, as you might have seen in my experience, I started off as a civil engineering student, but eventually landed in the tech world. So anything can happen anytime. And I hope you can embrace those changes as you progress with your journey. We will be sharing this PowerPoint deck with you, so I hope you can review some development ideas that you can incorporate in your development plan and some sample on the job development activities that you can work with your peers, your mentors, and your coaches. So, in saying that, thank you all so much for taking the time to attend today's session, and I hope you gained some valuable insights and perspectives in this presentation. And with that, I'll now hand it back to you, Michelle. Thank you.
Thank you, Nicole. That was great. I do have one question. Did you talk specifically about how you translated your visa to become a permanent resident in Australia?
That's a really great question, Michelle. And with all honesty and transparency, at this stage, I'm currently in the process of working through my visa requirements to get that permanent residency. But I believe with the follow up session that we'll have with Gia, who has now become a successful resident and citizen in Australia, she would be able to share more of her experience. What were the resources and tools that helped her become successful in that journey.
Think there are probably many routes to
Yes.
to do it because definitely Gia did one type of visa conversion, but our other friend Vanessa, she did a different kind after well, she had tried to get a partner visa, and then during the pandemic, because she was living in Melbourne with her partner, and everyone was trapped in their tiny apartments for months at a time, everybody broke up, and so the partner visa was lost because she broke up with
um,
her partner. But then she was able to get a sponsored visa from one of the Microsoft partners that she started working for. So that there are probably lots of choices. And yeah, maybe if we, in a follow-up session, we might get a few people who took different routes to get different visas and be here. And George, who was in the call earlier but has gone to a customer call now, he used to work at NIT, which is a organization that runs professional year student courses and helps those students um, well, stay in the country for that extra year they might need in order to make those conversions. So yeah, I think we could probably do a whole session on different ways people have managed to do that. So
yes.
what is your current visa then?
So currently, I'm on the temporary skilled shortage visa, where
Uh-huh.
Microsoft helped me attain. Now, the routes that you've mentioned earlier regarding partner visa and also the potential sponsorship visa for other companies was also a few of the other routes I was initially exploring. Now, what I like to share with in that is with the sponsorship visa, usually it's very hard to find those information out via the descriptions or the job ads. So I would encourage everyone to leverage your network, because you don't know who might have a strong network of people that may be the business owner of a specific tech organization, for example, that's willing to take in fresh graduates as as to sponsor fresh graduates. And the reason why I'm mentioning it is because I was also offered last year for a potential sponsorship visa through another company, but I was reluctant on leaving Microsoft. So I have informed that person, hold up, let me work this through. I really enjoyed the experience that I have at Microsoft. So yeah, I'd love to talk more about that in the next follow-up session that we'll have on this discussion.
Yeah, I think there's a lot to cover. And I think probably my advice would be um, getting those companies to like assuming that those companies will sponsor your visa is perhaps the least effective route, that you should probably be seeking to convert your visa yourself in some way, as Gia did, going out and making that application, as I did before coming here, because whether a company will sponsor a visa for you or not can really depend on the current climate in the country, the government regulations, how the corporate head office is thinking things, and often big companies are the worst ones for doing it, whereas smaller ones, because they are really so interested in getting the best talent, which they cannot attract through their name because they are smaller companies, they might well be the ones that are more likely to sponsor a visa. So it depends on what kind of company you want to work for, but I would say like really try and be proactive about taking control of your own visa conversion route. Oh wait, there is one question in the chat there for you, Nicole. Do you see it?
Okay. Um, Really great question. To make myself a more desirable candidate for a job position, how do I stand out if I don't have an internship? So one great thing I'd say about this is leverage the existing work that you're doing in your academic, and also if you have any side projects. Although you may not have a formal work experience, the work that you're doing within the university, for example, such as if we're talking about, you know, in software engineering, you might be developing applications in your courses. Create a portfolio out of it and present it to the recruiter. The the way that they would assess an applicant is your understanding of the problem. How do you map it out back to business outcomes and objectives, and how did you efficiently solve that problem? So if you can tackle these three main questions effectively, there is no doubt that you can land that role as well among other applicants. But also, in saying that, a lot of recruiters and hiring managers look at your um, work ethics. So if you can demonstrate how you've shown growth mindset, accountability, and um, being the proactiveness with the customer, how you demonstrated your customer obsession, that's going to be it will set you apart from the crowd, but and also the education and certifications that you might have. So it depends on what role you're planning to land. If it's an internship, that would really become effective for you. If you're looking at an early in career role where it might be, a junior role, for example, it it can become, different. I would say. What are your thoughts on that, Michelle?
I think also student clubs, if you're volunteering at student clubs and you're the president of this club or you're the secretary or, you've organized some events for your student clubs, that shows you have taken positions of responsibility and you have sought to lift up your community and you have, shown that you are willing to be a team player. All of those things can be shown through clubs, and also like hackathons, entering things like that. Gia had entered and won like about 50 hackathons. She was obsessed with them, but it was a really impressive thing for her to be able to talk about all those hackathons she had entered, all the things she had built, all the things she had won. But it wouldn't have even mattered if she hadn't won them. The fact that she was joining them, getting involved, making friends, meeting, connecting, building, growing, all of that is shown through the activities that you do. So yeah, it really doesn't just have to be about work. Yeah, the internship jobs do not rely on like anyone can apply for the internship jobs, even international students. They don't rely to apply for a full-time professional job. They are often asking for that now. But as Nicole shows, it's not necessarily the case that in all situations you need it. Indeed, Gia was working at Microsoft as well before she got her PR visa, and she was able to convert it while she was at Microsoft without Microsoft's assistance. She did that off her own back. So yeah, you don't need it for internships at all. We have plenty of international students doing internships without the permanent residency yet. Your student visa is fine.
And I would also recommend if you see any internship openings, if no, regardless if there is some mention in the job ad, for example, saying must be an Australian citizen or permanent resident, sometimes on the bottom of the job ads, there is a disclaimer indicating that if you possess, some of these requirements, go ahead and still apply for the role because you won't lose anything by
Yeah,
submitting your resume. If
yeah,
anything, it puts
always
you
try.
forward on the road. Yeah.
Yeah,
Always try.
always try. It's good practice. The submission is good practice. If you get interviews, that's good practice. And maybe you will get it anyway. Maybe you will be so outstanding that they will be willing to bring you in. It doesn't cost anything to try. So apart from your time. Anyway,
Definitely.
I have to let you all go because I do have another call. Um, it is wonderful to see you all this morning. And Nicole, that was an extremely impressive and comprehensive presentation. Don't forget to post everyone about the call that you were in this morning and encourage your friends to join Microsoft Student Accelerator and look out for upcoming events featuring Nicole because you see she has plenty more to teach us.
Next
Thanks,
time,
everyone.
hopefully, technical presentations. Th-
Excellent.
Thank you
Uh,
so much, Michelle, and everyone, for this
all right.
opportunity.
All right. Bye, everyone.